Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. Great week in Yeshiva. We have a lot of guests, a lot of alumni in, a lot of high school rabbeim coming in, a lot of visitors, a lot of hustle and bustle in Mevaseret, Baruch Hashem. We have Parashat Bo, and we read about Yetzias Mitzrayim, the conclusion of the Eser Makos. I want to share a thought I heard this morning from one of the visiting rabbeim, from Rav Ezer Wiener from TABC, from Teaneck. And he discussed the mitzvah of tefillin. The parsha ends with the mitzvah of tefillin, and we have the concept, the idea of tefillin being interrelated to Yetzias Mitzrayim. And there's a very, very striking Gemara in Maseches Menachos. The Gemara Maseches Menachos describes all the halachos of tefillin, and there you have an interesting din that you're not allowed to, of course, talk between the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel rosh. And the Gemara says something very striking. Kol hasach, anyone who speaks between the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel rosh, chozrin me'orche melchama. He can leave war because of that avera shebiyado. What exactly is going on? So Rashi explains over there in Maseches Menachos that we know that a person who's in warfare, there's certain people that are allowed to, that are exempt from fighting in melchama when Klal Yisrael is engaged in war. You have, for example, kol ha-bona bayis chadash, below Chanacho, a person who builds a new house and he has not yet made his Chanukas Habayis, a person who is a Ras Isha, he just married someone, he planted a vineyard, and then the Gemara has a catch-all. A person who is Rach Levav, a person who is soft of the heart, he is of a weak composition, a weak constitution, he too is Chozer Me'orche Melchama, he goes back, he doesn't have to go ahead and wage battle. The simple pshat in the pasuk is a person who is a coward, who has a weak constitution, so to put him out in the war front is going to actually be terrible for the military morale. It's going to go ahead and create a certain defeatist, perhaps fatalistic attitude, and therefore that kind of person you do not want on your battlefront. But Chazal understood a little bit different. Chazal understood that there was, the reason he's chozer and he's rach levav, he's nervous, he's a coward, not because of an issue of strength, but he's worried about averos shebiyado, that he did certain sins, and because of those sins, he's worthy of punishment. He's worthy of being killed on the battlefront. It's not a matter of just cowardice, it's a matter of averos shebiyado. What avera is he concerned about? What avera is he worried about? So Chazal says something stunning. He's worried about the fact that he might have spoken sach ben tefillin shel yad let tefillin shel rosh. So a lot of places we're not allowed to speak. We're not allowed to speak in davening, not allowed to speak in the middle of Shemona Esrei. There's a lot of Isurei Dibur that we have. And for some reason, this Isur is much more chomer. We have a lot of Averas, a lot of chomer Averas. But for some reason, Chazal picked this Avera. Speaking bein tefillin shel yad with tefillin shel rosh, that one is going to really be creating him a very, very bad situation. He's going to psychologically feel, this is not going to work for me. I'm going to get killed on the battlefront. What's so terrible? What is so terrible? Sure, bracha levatala. You made a bracha on your shel yad, and that's supposed to cover your shel rosh. Bracha levatala. Sure, bracha levatala is very chomer. Lo tisa Hashem Hashem lashav. But why this bracha specifically? What is so terrible about this? So the Maharal explains a very beautiful and fundamental idea. Is that we put the tefillin shel yad on our arm, keneged halev, and the tefillin shel rosh is on our head, keneged the moach. And says the Maharal, when it comes to avodas Hashem, so there are two spheres of avodas Hashem. There's avodas Hashem in maaseh, in actions, and we're commanded, we are mitzuvah to fulfill mitzvahs day in and day out. We have a mitzvah of every single day engaging in asiyas ha-mitzvahs, ma'isa ha-mitzvah. And that is the passion, the heart, and that is the yad. The yad is the instrument of ma'isa, and that's what is represented by the tefillin shel yad. Then we have the tefillin shel rosh. The tefillin shel rosh really is the avoda of the rosh, Talmud Torah, understanding everything we're doing on a deep level, connecting to Hashem through the rigor of Talmud Torah, of Gemara, of really understanding, becoming a Talmud Chacham. And these are two separate and distinct domains. In fact, the Gemara asks, which one is better? Gadol HaMaisa or Gadol HaLimud? Which one is stronger? Which one has a primary place? But clearly, they are both of primary importance. And oftentimes, we see this in Yeshiva, we see it post-Yeshiva. You'll have a person who connects very well to Maisa Mitzvahs. He's a doer, and he loves doing chesed, and he loves going to shul, and he is physically engaged in his Yiddishkeit. But when it comes to his Talmud Torah, Talmud Torah is not for him. I'm not a learner. That I don't do. That I'm not engaged in. That is not my thing. That's one type of person. And then we find also people that are very intellectually curious. They enjoy the intellectual gymnastics of a Daf Gemara, of a Lumdus, of an analytical sugya of a Rav Chaim. They're intellectually engaged, but they're not terribly into mitzvahs. They're not terribly into the avoda shebalev. They're not so into tefillah. They're not so into chesed. They're not so into the kiyum hamitzvos. Says the mitzvah of tefillin at the end of this parsha, is that to be a true Eved Hashem, to really have it together, you need both components. You need the avodas hayad, the avodas ha'maaseh, and you need the avodas harosh. You need the intellectual involvement. You need to be engaged, intellectually engaged in Talmud Torah, understand to the best way you can everything that you're doing. Imagine you're going in for a surgery. Doctor says, yeah, we need to do some surgery. What are you doing? We have to cut you open, and we'll deal with your kidneys a little bit, deal with your liver a little bit. Don't worry, I got this covered. Okay, sure, no problem, I'm in. No, you're going to ask questions. What exactly are we doing? What are the risks? What are the benefits? What's the procedure? What exactly is going to be happening? You're not going to go ahead and just do. You're going to want to understand on a very, very deep level to the best that you can. You're not going to go to medical school, but you want to understand. So it is when it comes to Avodas Hashem. We need both. We need both. And that's the message of the Gemara. The Gemara is telling us, Kol hasach, if you speak between Tfilin shal yad, Tfilin shal rosh, chozer me'orchem elcham. If you don't get this idea, that you can't separate the two, the avodas hayad and the avodas harosh, are inextricably linked. They're attached. You can't have one without the other. To be an Adam Shalim, to have Shleimus and Avodas Hashem, you need both. And that has to be understood. If you create separations, if you're sach, if you make a hefsek between the two, I do this, not that, I do that, not this, that is a flawed Avodas Hashem. And that's the message of the Gemara. That's the message why it's so chomer, dafka this dibur, dafka this avera, chozer me'orchem elchama. That's when you're at risk, because you're missing a fundamental point, is that our Amunah, our Talmud Torah, Avodas Harosh, so critical. And of course, Avodas Hayad is equally critical. So we give everyone a bracha that they should tap in to the messages of Tefillin. We put on Tefillin every single day, to tap into the message of Tefillin, and for women who don't put on Tefillin every single day, but the message is the same, to tap in to the Avoda of the Yad, and also to the best of our ability to try and understand through Limud HaTorah, through understanding mitzvos, Tamei HaMitzvos, everything that we're doing. And Be'ez Hashem will be zocheh to have a true sense of shleimus and Yitz Hashem, just like Tefillin was a critical piece of Yetzias Mitzrayim. By taking the lessons of Tefillin, will be zocheh to have a gula b'mheira v'yamein.